Good morning.
Good morning.
How y'all doing today? Good night last night? Yes, no? Y'all find counselors and stuff like that? I was like innocently walking to someone else's cabin last night. That sounds weird. I was going to the shindig to some friends' cabins last night. And somebody was just right up on me last night like I was getting arrested. I ain't gonna say who it is, I'm gonna just stare at him. Yeah, he gonna look around like I ain't looking at him. But he just ran up on me with a flash like, hey! He thought I was playing the game, but I wasn't. But I guess I was looking for counselors last night, and he thought he was gonna get like extra points for finding me. First of all, I was like walking in the middle of like the field. I wasn't even hiding. So, but hopefully you guys found some people last night. Cool? Let me know. Yeah, all right, sweet. All right, well today is, what, Thursday morning? Tuesday. It's only Tuesday? We still got like, what, 4 days. Man. All right. Well, last night we talked about this guy named Lou. No, Jesus. And, David, yes. We talked about David last night, and we talked about David in his battle versus who? Goliath. Why is it that every story I talk about, somebody always dies? Like, y'all go home, and your parents gonna look at your notes, and it's gonna be like, dead, dying, head cut off, falling out of windows. Like, what kind of camp was this? What is happening at this camp? Like, Mom, I don't know, God was just screaming and all he was talking about was dying. Well, this story today I got to talk about, guess what it has to do with? No! Aww! It's actually got something to do with having a baby. And so somebody, no, that's gross. Go back to dying. All right. So we talked about this guy named David last night, but a key part in that story last night was this prophet who anointed David. Who can guess what his name is? I'll give you 100,000 HYC camp points. I can't do that, but I'll give it to you. Samuel, Peter, put your hands together. Put your hands together. He's wrong. All right. Samuel, yeah.
It's the final fact, I don't know.
Peter.
Get it?
They would.
We haven't said Peter's name once.
He is here.
Only time we said Peter's name was when we were
He's
talking
on
about
the very
this.
end.
Okay.
Which takes me back to our 3 main points. You must be what? Attentive. What? Available and what else?
So
All
it's
in.
Jungle Joe, Rocket,
Welcome
Revolution.
to Hiawatha UK. I forgot. You made me forget what I was talking about.
They might actually get that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yes, Samuel. So there's this guy named Samuel who anointed David. Samuel, anointed, he's a prophet. And remember when he walked into that city, the city was even stirred that he even came in there. Like the Bible said that he was what? They were trembling. And he was like, hey, peace, I'm here, peacefully, peacefully, peacefully. Yes, I'm here in peace. There you go. I'm here in peace. They were like, okay, thank you. And so all that to say, like this guy, he anointed David as king, and he had also anointed Saul as king. The first 2 kings of Israel. He anointed those 2. God used Samuel to anoint these 2 kings, and then he dies later on. That's the only time I'll mention this, okay? I know. But it was awesome. Let me just help you understand this, because we're going to talk about his mind. No. There you go, right there. Come on up. Put your hands together for no. All right, I'm gonna need y'all to stay with me on this one, because this story is not, it's exciting, but you gotta stay with me. It's not like the fighting story we talked about last night, but it's a good one, but you gotta stay focused. This one's gonna test you a little bit. It's this one that I kind of struggle with, like should I give this one in the morning or the evening? But I believe in other people, not you, but I believe in other people that they're gonna stay focused on this one. You was thinking about Peter. You gotta gain some trust with me, okay? But I believe you can focus on this. Can you stay with me? Win-win is that. I believe in you. All right. It's got to deal with this struggle. So stay with me. And it's got some hard names. So we're going to see if Nolan can get through these hard names. So you may be able to laugh a little bit. Can you handle people laughing at you? All right, because I'm going to laugh. And it's some hard names. That's why I'm going to have you read this one, because it's hard for me. So go to 1 Samuel. That's right before 2 Samuel. Just in case you was looking for it, okay? 1 Samuel, is that all right? Good. In your notes, put misfits. We talked a little bit about this last night. Misfits have confidence. Misfits have confidence. We talked about that a little bit last night, but we're going to focus on it today. Misfits have confidence. All right? Here we go. 1 Samuel, chapter 1. Chapter 1, verse 1. So we're about to talk about how Samuel got on this earth. This is good, y'all. All right, here we go. Stay with me on this. Y'all gonna say clap 3 times to hear me. All right, here we go.
There was a certain man from Ramathaim, a Zuphite in the hill country of Ephraim.
What?
Whose name was Elkanah, son of Jeroham, the son of Elihu,
Sure.
the son of Tohu,
Yeah.
the son of Zuph,
Right.
an Ephraimite.
What'd you say?
Ephraimite.
That's right.
He had 2 wives.
All right. How many? 2. How many? 2. All right. You could do that back in the day, just in case y'all like, what? Yeah, you can do that, all right?
One was called Hannah, and Peninnah.
Uh-huh.
No, Peninnah.
Sure.
Whatever. Peninnah had children.
She not lying, she don't matter. Go ahead.
Peninnah had children, but Hannah had none. Year after year, this man went up from his town to worship and sacrifice to the Lord Almighty at Shiloh, where Hophni and Phinehas, the 2 sons of Eli, were priests of the Lord. Whenever the day came for Elkanah to sacrifice, he would give portions of the meat to his wife Peninnah and to all her sons and daughters. But to Hannah he gave a double portion.
How much?
Double.
Why? No, he ain't read that part yet.
Because he loved her.
All right, now why?
Because he loved her.
All right, keep going.
And the Lord had closed her womb.
The Lord had did what? That means she couldn't do what? So one of his wives could have kids and one couldn't. Hannah could not. Elkanah loved her still, and he gave her double portion because he what? Loved her. Keep going.
Because the Lord had closed Hannah's womb, her rival kept provoking her in order to irritate her.
Woo!
This went on year after year.
Year after year, the other wife used to irritate her, get on her nerves, talk about her, because she couldn't have what? Kids. Couldn't have a baby. She talked about her over, and I'm telling you, some of you may think that this is not a big deal, but this is huge. Back in the day, a woman's worth was her having kids. Like, that was her value. That is really what made her a woman. she can birth out of this relationship. So if she couldn't birth anything out of this relationship, it meant for her is that she really didn't bring anything to this marriage. There was no value to her. But the Bible said her husband really, truly what? Loved her. Even though she felt like she couldn't bring what? Value. And this girl, this other wife, used to just boo boo. I don't know if that's what she used to do. But it said year after year, it irritated her. Anybody got people in their life that irritate you? Yes. Some of y'all like, I'm sitting next to them. Don't be doing that. But do that behind me back, okay? All right, no. But year after year, very seriously, in something that she couldn't even control. Like, she couldn't control having kids. This other wife would irritate her about something like basically, let's say it's like a disease that she had and talk about it. Like a disability. Keep going, though. This is interesting. Go ahead.
Whenever Hannah went up to the house of the Lord, her rival provoked her till she wept and would not eat.
This is mean. This is bullying. In the Bible. Keep going.
Her husband Elkanah would say to her, Hannah, why are you weeping? Why don't you eat? Why are you downhearted? Don't I mean more to you than 10 sons? Once when they had finished eating and drinking in Shiloh, Hannah stood up. Now Eli the priest was sitting on his chair by the doorpost of the Lord's house. In her deep anguish, Hannah prayed to the Lord, weeping bitterly. And she made a vow, saying, Lord Almighty, if you will only look at your servant's misery and remember me, and not forget your servant, but give her a son, and I will give him to the Lord for all the days of his life, and no razor will ever be used on his head. As she kept praying to the Lord, Eli observed her mouth. Hannah was praying in her heart, but her lips were moving, but her voice was not heard. Eli thought she was drunk.
Wait a minute. This lady has been treated so bad. She's now praying to God in a setting where she's in like a temple. And there's a priest named Eli looking at her, and she's praying like just, this woman is making fun of me. I can't have kids. I'm praying to you, Father. Father, and the Bible tells you everything she said, and the priest is actually looking at her, and the Bible said not a word is coming out of her mouth, but her lips are moving to a point that the priest thinks she's what? That she's drunk. Like she's like crying out, and he's like, whoa, somebody is left. Girl coming to the church drunk. Keep going, watch, look at this interaction.
And said to her, how long are you going to stay drunk? Put away your work.
First of all, Eli, if she drunk, how you gonna ask somebody how long you gonna stay drunk? They drunk. They don't know how long they gonna stay drunk. Let me think. I'm gonna pour my out. They drunk, Eli. Keep going.
Not so, my lord, Hannah replied.
Uh-huh.
I am a woman who has been deeply troubled. I have not been drinking wine or beer. I was pouring out my soul to the Lord. Do not take your servant for a wicked woman. I have been praying here out of my great anguish and grief. Eli answered, go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant you whatever you have asked.
I love this. Now he understands. You were praying hard, girl. You were praying hard. See, some of you, we've talked about this, like you pouring out your heart to the Father, being transparent with Him, like you, like giving it all in, like you're all in, you're giving it to the Lord, giving it, like here it is, God, it's all yours, all my anguish, all my problems, all my troubles, everything, all the good, all the bad, all the ugly, here it is, and that's what Hannah's doing in this moment. This is all you, it's all yours. I just want one son, and here it is. If you give me one son, I'm going to give him back to you. It's my promise. I'll give him to you. I promise. I just want a kid. And Eli sees that and says, wait a minute, I think he's drunk, finds out, like, wait a minute, no, you just really in some pain. You know something? I'm interceding with you. You know, may the Lord grant you whatever you ask him for. Go in peace. Finish that last verse.
She said, may your servant find favor in your eyes. And she went her way and ate something, and her face was no longer downcast.
Go one more verse.
Early the next morning, they arose and worshipped before the Lord, and then went back to their home in Ramah. Elkanah made love to his wife.
Oh, I'm sorry. Don't read that one. Rated PG-13. All right.
And the Lord remembered her.
And all right, cool. All right. They prayed together. All right. They prayed together. They married. Yes. And what's so great about it, they did what married people do. And she got pregnant. And she got pregnant, and then, let's get Nolan in the hand. She gets pregnant, and she has to see, well, I'll just summarize the rest of it on your homework and your free time, stuff like that. You can read the rest. She has this kid, and she names him Samuel, and she gives him to the priest named Eli, the guy that was there thinking she was drunk. And that was her way of giving him back to the Lord. This lady couldn't have a kid, and getting teased about it. She says, Lord, I'm going to give him back to you, and she does exactly that. She has the kid, she weans him, she nurtures him so he's able to, sustain without a mother, and she gives him to Eli, and then he becomes basically like Eli's son. All that to say is this is the interesting part. God uses this lady's son as a part. Like Eli is like an adopted, Samuel is like an adopted kid. He is what we would consider, what we've been talking about that starts with him. Samuel is a what? Misfit. God uses a misfit to change the world. Eli has sons, but his sons are tripping. And God uses Hannah, who couldn't have kids, to use her in her confidence in God, her faith in God, like we talked about last night, to change a situation that she did not give up. Like, God, this is what I want. I'm praying to you. And his son Samuel changes the world. He is used to anoint Saul. He's used to anoint David. And David, next thing you know, the Bible calls him a man after God's own heart. And Jesus actually comes from David. Jesus is in the lineage of misfits. Remember, David was the least among his what? Brothers. Samuel is a what? Misfit. Hannah is broken. She's a broken woman. She would be considered a what? Misfit.
For the number.
Well, I'm sorry. Come back up.
Yep.
Go to chapter 2. I wasn't going to do this, but let's go to chapter 2 real quick, verse 3. Listen to Hannah's prayer. This is where the confidence comes in. I'm going to tell you a quick story that we've done. This is Hannah's prayer. You about to read, anybody do write journals in here? Y'all write journals? Like, my mama is here on my nerves today. Y'all write journals? No journals? Nobody do journals? You do? Journals? Yes. You got journals? I know. I have journals. I do. Like journals.
not keep talking so proudly, or let you want chapter 2, verse 3.
Start at verse 1.
My heart rejoices in the Lord. In the Lord my horn is lifted high. My mouth boasts over my enemies, for I delight in your deliverance. There is no one holy like the Lord. There is no one besides you. There is no rock like our God.
Keep going.
Do not keep talking so proudly, or let your mouth speak such arrogance. For the Lord is a God who knows, and by him deeds are weighed. The bows of the warriors are broken, but those who stumbled are armed with strength. Those who are full hire themselves out for food, but those who are hungry no more. She who is barren has borne 7 sons, but she who has had many sons pines away. The Lord brings death and makes alive. He brings down to the grave and raises up. The Lord sends poverty and wealth. He humbles and he exalts. He raises the poor from the dust and lifts the needy from the ash heap. He seats them with princes and has them inherit a throne of honor. The foundation of the earth are the Lord's. On them he has set the world. He will guard the feet of his faithful servants, but the wicked will be silenced in the place of darkness. It is not by strength that one prevails. Those who oppose the Lord will be broken.
Will be what? Will be what?
Broken.
Read 10. You can stop at 10.
The Most High will thunder from heaven. The Lord will judge the ends of the earth. He will give strength to his king and exalt the horn of his anointed.
All right. Man, does it sound like she has confidence in God? She's saying, God, basically, in all of that, in her prayer to God, you are all that. You have all power in your hands. You can put people from the dust, people to poor, you can raise them up to be kings. You can take a woman, and she knows this, who can't have kids, and you can make them have 7. You can take someone who is king and bring them down to be poor. You can take someone who is dead and bring them alive. You are the man, because misfits have what? Confidence. Let me tell you this, one of my favorite stories, I think I told it here, some of my counselors may remember this story about confidence, and because one of y'all reminded me about this, but since this is my first time doing Team Week 1, some of you hopefully have never heard this. If you have, it's all right, just a reminder. But this is my favorite, because this is where I got my confidence from. I was like some of you, I just didn't have a lot of confidence. I didn't have it. I had low self-esteem. I know that's hard to tell right now with all my yelling and spitting. I didn't have it. I was scared to talk in front of people. I know, it's weird. Me, scared to talk in front of people? I was. I couldn't do it. They tell you to picture people naked, don't do it. That's weird. It's nasty. I couldn't do it. One of the big things too, I had got kicked out of college. Never had that trouble in my life in middle school and high school. Got all the way up to college. My first year in college, got kicked out. That's when my confidence really took a hit. I didn't know you get kicked out of college because you was paying for it. I thought because you was paying for it and I was on the football team that you can get kicked out if you didn't go to class. Didn't know that until I got a letter in the mail saying, hey, we kicked you out. And I was like, I thought this was a joke. But no, I couldn't go back. I was like, I didn't think I really cared, but I did. Because my girlfriend was there. She was going back and I wasn't. It hit me hard. So, anyway, started working at this place called Job Corps. Walking up and down the halls, my job was simply, I would go there at 10 o'clock at night. Everybody say 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock at night. I was supposed to be being a sophomore in college, but I really still was like a freshman because I hadn't even passed the first year. But because I was like 19, 20 years old, I was actually watching 16, 17-year-olds at this place called Job Corps for these kids who had dropped out of high school. And now they're in this program. So my entire job was to just walk up and down the hallway while they were asleep. Yeah, exactly. From the first day I walked in, still balling. Who is that? Every morning, walk in. Never knew where that was coming from. First couple of weeks, did it. It happened every morning. Every morning. 5 to 7, 5 to 8, 6 times right here. Still balling. Who is yelling out? Still balling in the morning. That's hilarious. And what time do I get there? We have a staff meeting. After a couple weeks of me working there or whatever, I get there during the day. And I'm coming there, and I'm walking through the cafeteria, and I see this guy who's about 300, 400 pounds. What was even more crazy is because he was only about 5 feet tall. He's about this tall, weighing about 300, something like he was a big boy. And he's sitting at this table, and I'm not talking about him. Who am I to talk? But he's this big boy, and he's sitting at this table, and this is what shocked me. He had all these girls. I mean, it was like the weirdest thing. All these girls are just like playing in his hair. They're all around them, rubbing their shoulders. And they like all at the table and they're laughing and this is not an exaggeration. One of them is almost like a movie. One of them is actually feeding him. I am not lying to you. It was like, what is going on here? And I'm thinking to myself while I'm passing him like, am I dreaming? Anyway, I go to a staff meeting where I'm still in the staff meeting just thinking about like, what do those girls understand about that guy? Like he's just sitting there, and those girls are, and there's other guys around. You can tell that they may be jealous and stuff like that, but he's just loving it. He's just enjoying it. So instead of me that night starting at this end of the hall, I start at that end of that end of the hall that morning when I worked the shift. 5:57, and guess whose room I'm starting at? His room. I mean, not his room, but the guy's room. And just when I'm putting my key in his room, never knew this. This is how bad of an employee I was. Didn't know. I didn't even know he was on the floor. I mean, I knew, but I just really didn't focus. I put the key in the door, open up. The moment I put the key in the door and I open it up, guess what comes out of that door? Still burning! And I open the door, there he is without a shirt on, in his underwear, sitting at the edge of his bed. All 300-something pounds of it. Just sitting there, and I'm shocked for two different things. First of all, he got his shirt off, just all of it's there. But I'm going back to all of the weeks I've heard that phrase, and I'm like, what does still balling mean? And he says, Mr. Rob, look at me. And I say to him, I can't miss you. He says, Mr. Robinson, seriously, look at me. He says, man, every day I wake up is a blessing. Every day I wake up, I shouldn't be here. pool. And I'm like, what? Changed my life forever. That young man taught me that I was living my life just basically like taking it for granted. That I wasn't all in on my life. That I wasn't available to the Father in my life every single day. And this young man, those young ladies that were around him, I got it. Those young ladies were attracted to his confidence. Those friends that he had throughout, once I started seeing him around throughout my time there, I saw that they were attracted to his confidence. He had the highest grades at that place. He had took the full advantage of it. He was going to college at that place. He was going to carpentry school. He had their driving training program. He had dropped out of school, almost died, but now he was taking full advantage of every opportunity because of two words. What?
Still balling.
Confidence. Misfit. So with that being said, y'all, misfits have confidence. And it's not about your outside, is what we found out today. But we also learned that last night. The Lord looks at your what? Inside. I promise you, it's your confidence. Have that. Have that. And it's not your confidence in like a skill. It's not your confidence in being the best basketball player. It's your confidence knowing that God has loaned you. Let's pray. Love you guys. I can't wait to the rest of this week, man. Hannah, I love it. She had confidence in God. Her confidence in God as a misfit, she created another misfit. He was able to spot another misfit. Like God used them. God used